Alright, today I am actually working on a 2003 Chrysler Town & Country. I am working to get the harmonic balancer off. I have the brand new harmonic balancer I've been wanting to put on for a while, and I actually didn't have any issue trying to get the bolt itself off. Everyone I see on YouTube has been trying to fight with getting the bolts off. That one actually came off fairly easy for me. The problem is getting the actual harmonic balancer, pulley, whatever you want to call it, to come off. I have a 3-job puller on here, and I've been tightening it up, and as I do, it will actually turn the engine over. And so I got kind of worried that I was maybe putting a little bit too much pressure on that bolt, and so I kind of used a punch here, a brass punch on the back side from up underneath, to see if I could give it a little taps here and there to maybe work it loose where it would start to break loose itself. I will say that the harmonic balancer is kind of rusty, and I figure it might be getting seized up against the shaft that it's on there. I think if I were to do this again, I would probably use some penetrating oil, but I actually feel like I've started to get the brake loose. So let me show you what I got going on. Alright, I'm using my 1/2-inch ratchet here that extends. They're made by Easy Red. These things are pretty great. I have them in 1/2-inch and 3/8 and 1/4-inch drive. So I can leave a link in the description for those. But anyway, using these cheap Harbor Freight 3-jaw puller, and every time I turn this, like I said, it turns over. But I will say that I guess you're just going to have to start trusting in the process as you go. Almost turn completely over, it gets a little harder, and then I might get an actual 1/4 turn or 1/2 turn, and then you hear a little click like that, and it's just coming a little bit further out each time. So like I said, you're pretty much going to have to trust the process. Every video I saw was somebody showing you how they did it after they did it, so I wanted to show you while it was still on here and still fighting me. And we'll go a little bit further in the video after I get this done. Alright, let me do this off camera. Alright, I have bottomed out on the bolt. Initially, this washer would spin as I was still had a lot of space, and so now I've kind of pulled it far enough back that it's actually hitting, and it's made that washer tight. So we're just going to back off on it a little bit, and I'm going to need both hands for this, so I'll do this off camera. I'm just going to reverse this until the jaw is completely loose, and then I'm going to back that bolt out just a little further so I can get another 1/2 inch or so out of it, and we'll just keep doing that over and over again. Alright, you see now we have some space again, probably maybe 1/4 inch or so. I reset the jaw, and we're going to start tightening up again, and we'll go from there. I feel like we're getting closer now. It's starting to get easy to turn. I'm hearing the pops more frequently. Alright, we're bottomed out again. You're gonna have to reset it one more time. Okay, so we got a problem. Alright, my bolt was not long enough to extend far enough out and have enough threads in there to reset the jaws one more time. So what I'm going to do is I've got a 9/16 chrome socket, And I'm gonna just kind of put it in there like that. You can see the inside. It'll sit on that rim on that those sides. I just don't want to put the jaw in there, because if I do, I feel like the jaw is going to mar that up. Whereas if I put it here, and the jaw is just going to fit in there, you know, right there snug against that socket. And worst case scenario, I get it there we go. And worst case scenario, I mess up my socket, I get a new one. It's no big deal. Alright, so let's reset it. Okay, so we're reset, and we should get enough definitely out of that to get this last little bit off, get the pop off. I had some bigger jaws, but the problem was is they didn't want to sit on the inner one. They probably would have gone towards the outer, but I mean, you can obviously see the rubber ring, and the last thing I wanted to do was break off that rubber ring and still be left with the inner part there. So let me keep working at this. All right, I think it's coming out. Yeah, the hell with that thing. So that's that. And I think while I'm underneath here, I'll get an oil pan gasket. I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out at the same time. If I have any issues putting it back on, I'll let you know. But there's a bunch of videos showing you how to put them on. There just wasn't any videos of showing it actually coming off. You know, they always said, oh, well, here's how I did it. And then they kind of show after effects. I wanted you to see how much of a pain it was for me on this one. The shaft itself feels pretty good. And I didn't mar this up, and I didn't mar the threads on the inside. So I feel good about that. And that sill is holding pretty good. Worst case scenario, I'll have to come back to the sill later, but I am going to leave it be. It seems to be working. Why mess with it? Alright. Well, this should be it. Thank you. Alright. So I'm going to put the harmonic balancer back on. But the problem we're having is that it's too tight. You can't even get it to slide on even a little bit. So what I plan on doing is I'm going to heat it up with this torch. I'm going to try to stay around this area here. Even though this is rubber here, I'm not going to heat it up a lot. I'm just going to heat it up a little bit. You know, the engine gets hot itself. I'm going to heat that. And then I got these dust units here. And if you spray them upright, they don't do anything, but if you spray them upside down, they make stuff cold. So what I'm going to do is that shaft in there, I'm going to spray it after I get this nice and hot, get that cold, and then hopefully it should fit on. Now I have one of these hammers that should help. This way I don't have to use wood. I use these for like woodworking. I use these for hitting metal I don't want to mess up. And you can buy them from Harbor Freight. They got little BBs in them that helps with the, you know, the actual hit. So anyway, let's see if we can get this done. Okay, so I've had some issues trying to get the pulley back on. My idea previously of using the heat and the cooling did not do anything, so I've got a pulley installer. Had to get it off of Amazon because I needed one specific size, and that would be this M10 by 1.5 thread. So that seems to be the only one that's going to work for my particular job. Now it has an indentation on here that you could use for a wrench, but the way it fits in there, it's so far deep in there that you can't even get to that indentation. So I'm going to just put it on hand tight and we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can get it to come back out too. Kind of has me worried. We will see though. Let me go ahead and get all the rest of this together and I'll show you how it goes. Alright, so they're calling this a forcing screw, and this will thread onto the adapter piece that's inside the crank there. And we have a bearing, and I'm assuming that it goes on like this, allows it to spin even though you're turning. I will say this is very cheap, and I don't expect it to last more than this one job. I'm probably going to end up having to get some nice washers, but I don't know if I can even find any this size right now, or put my hands on one this size right now. So what some people had suggested is just to make sure to put oil on everything. So I'm going to put oil on here, put oil on this outside shaft, put the one on the inside of the harmonic balancer, and that way it all turns nice and easy, and we'll see how this goes. Just put a little oil on everything. Yeah, we may be running into an issue here. Oh boy, well, I finally got this thing done, and it was definitely a huge pain in the rear. So I cut the video, and I really didn't want to show y'all what I did to have to get this thing done. I'm not proud of it, but Definitely didn't want that on video. So basically, the problem I ran into is the thread pattern on this is, I don't know if we'll be able to see this or not, is the M10 by 1.50. I even have it on here as well. And so I have that in my kit here, but then when you thread on this forcing screw to put it in there, you realize it is bigger than the pulley. So nobody has anything that fits this. I've checked all the long harmonic balancer installers. Everything's like M12 or better, or it's standard. So nothing fit the thread pattern that I had. And all I can say is that this is just one of those Chrysler specials. And of course I'm gonna have to blame Lee Iacocca. He's done everything. He's responsible for everything. So anyway, what I did is, couldn't find anywhere in my town on this holiday weekend here, Memorial Day weekend, that was open and that had threaded rod in that thread pattern. So what I did is I found the various bolt sizes, and I went and stepped down all the way down to the one that came with it on the actual harmonic balancer, the actual bolt for it, for the crank bolt there, and I used that one to finish it off with. So I just would get a little bit at a time and just keep working my way down, and that was my only option. Everything else I've tried to do didn't work. I've tried to rent stuff from O'Reilly's, Advanced, AutoZone. Nobody had it. I purchased this one from Amazon. I'll go ahead and post a link on it. I mean, other than this this bearing here, it seems like it'll do the job for everything else. I definitely borrowed the serpentine belt puller, and I will say you have to have it on these minivans, because your ratchet will not be able to get in there, and this gives you the extra leverage that you need. All you had to do is use this piece here with a 3/8 drive, and it worked perfectly. So anyway, as I'm tightening this thing down, I keep stepping down as I start turning the crank, and finally I got to the point where I was to the final bolt, the original bolt that was on there, and it got to the point where I kept feeling like I was turning the crank too much, spinning it way too much. So what I did is, I didn't want to keep doing that and keep doing it. So I got a metal bar here. I went ahead and put it on the heavy duty washer there, so I'm not actually on the pulley, and I whacked it a couple times there with Big Bertha, and I finally got the seat and then tightened it down. They recommend 40 foot-pounds, but I'm sure I've messed that whole thing up. I didn't put any Loctite or anything on it either. I was just so happy to get this stupid thing in. I mean, again, it's just one of those engineering disasters by Chrysler, but finally got it done, ran it, and it looks fine. You know, I mean, the entire time I'm worried I'm doing something wrong or messing something up. If we only just had a simple tool like this that matched the size that we needed, but there's nothing I could find online. You know, if y'all have it or know about it, definitely put it in the comments so we all know about it for the future. And hopefully this video helped. I am not a professional mechanic by any stretch of the imagination, so if you got some a little bit of knowledge out of this, great. Don't do what I do, because I'm bound to mess everything up, and I'm only working on our personal stuff. I'm not getting paid for this at all. Maybe supper. I might get supper out of it, but that's about it. Anyway, if you like this type of video, let me know. Like, subscribe, and let me know if there's anything else that y'all want me to try to post on here, and I'll see what I can do. Alright, thank you very much. Y'all have a good one.